Hey everybody, this is Coinweek editor Charles Morgan. Happy Saturday. It's April 30th, 2022, and it's been a while since we've been on stream. A lot of things going on in Coinweek, and it's my first opportunity. I have Coinweek assistant editor Hubert Walker with me today. He's off camera, and he's going to be helping me do a little bit of a show and tell. We have an exciting stream for you, actually. A few weeks ago, a neighborhood friend of mine reached out and remembered that I worked in the coin business and asked if I would help them go through a collection of coins that they had inherited. Uh, they had basically inherited this large accumulation from their mother, and she wasn't a major collector by any stretch of the imagination, but she had inherited an accumulation of coins and other objects from a fiance who unfortunately died in the 1960s in an automobile accident. He was a jeweler in Richmond, Virginia, and had a store. And it was apparent to me after looking at the material that they had that he was probably working on some over the counter business relating to coins and paper money. And people were coming into the store and exchanging obsolete currency or coins, silver dollars, gold coins, and things like that, for money that they would then spend. So it was a highly unusual collection, to say the least. Usually, when I get calls from people who want us to come over and look at a collection, I usually don't do this. I find that in most cases, what you have is just a rather ordinary, uninteresting accumulation of things, maybe from the mint or bought off of television, and it's just not the kind of thing that I personally find very interesting. And because this was a friend, I was more lenient with my rule, but I wanted to sort of set their expectation a little bit lower, saying, unless this relative was somebody of means that was putting away rarities at the time, that the odds are the collection they had wouldn't be enough for them to retire on or anything like that, and may not even be all that interesting. I did say, however, based on the date that the coins were put together, that there was a chance that the collection would contain silver coins. The United States stayed on the silver standard until the mid 1960s when they switched to clad. And it wouldn't be unusual for a collection of that period to have silver coins. And when I actually got to the home and started looking through it, I was very surprised, but not immediately. Uh, in the beginning, it looked exactly what I expected. There were some rolls of average circulated Morgan dollars and tubes. There was the same with Kennedy's and Franklin half dollars. Very unremarkable material in what we would consider junk silver grades. And then two by two boxes were presented to me, which changed the entire equation. These two boxes were filled with $5 gold coins, which again, when you remember that this was a jeweler, it would not have been unusual for that individual to handle gold. I brought out my loupe. I started looking at them. Most of the dates were, again, these were ordinary type coin dates. There weren't any rarities, but they were remarkably original, and they also were almost entirely genuine. By my estimation, they had about $70,000 worth of generic gold type coins, mostly fives. They had one St. Gallen's $10 gold coin. They had one St. Gallen's $20 gold coin. They might have had two Liberty $20 gold coins. They had a $3 gold coin, a couple quarter eagles, but mostly half eagles. So I put them in touch with an area dealer, somebody who I know travels the country doing the national coin show scene, and we prepared our own internal estimation of what the gold coins would sell for. And without telling this dealer that all this work had been done, they presented the lot, asked him if he was interested, and he came up with a generous offer that was a tad bit higher than what we had game planned. So it worked out for them, and that was great. Now, a second area of the collection, which actually came as a surprise to me, was paper money. This this collector slash dealer individual was not a paper money specialist, but because of the period of time that he was accumulating this material, there are quite a few pieces that would have been more commonly seen in the general public than they would be today. And I'm going to show you many of these pieces. The paper money collection, by my estimation, is worth probably about $15,000. There are, with few exceptions, nothing that I would say would be in mint state or uncirculated or whatever you would call it. And many of the pieces are in rather poor shape, but they represent what was circulating or being held by people at the time in the 1960s. Some of the material is really quite interesting, and it, for me, provided an opportunity to actually get some hands-on time with some paper money that usually I don't see outside of a P&G or a PCGS banknote holder. So, having said all of this and set it up, I have for you, I believe, let me just check my little spreadsheet here we put together before we went on. I think I have close to 50 notes to show off. And I'm very excited to do that. So, I'm going to start by switching over here. We're going to go to the first note we have prepped, and we're going to have a quick run through of all these great notes. And I'm glad you stop by and spend a little bit of your time this Saturday with me looking at some paper money. Hope you enjoy. So the first note we see here is a Series 1957B. It's sort of a little bundle of them, silver certificates, United States silver certificates. And this was part of maybe 5 or 6 different bundles of nearly uncirculated or nearly uncirculated notes from the mid-50s that were in this collection. You see it has the blue seal, says silver certificate at the top. And if we look at the reverse of the note, we'll turn it over here. It's should be a familiar design to everybody. Before I give these notes back, I actually bought more sleeves, and I'm going to break all of these out and put them in individual sleeves. But there you go. That's the first thing. Not too interesting, but you know, that's something that you see pretty common in the collectibles market in the lower end. All right, so here we have a large Federal Reserve note. This is from a series of 1914, and you see it has Frank White and A.W. Mellon's signature on it. You can still see some of the fibers near the seal on the left side. This is one of several of these large size notes they had. This might be one of the finer ones in the accumulation. And we'll look at the reverse of this one. And this is great. It's strange to me that they had such a large paper money at the time, but they had this like dead space, if you will, in the center of the note. You know, you have these sort of great engravings there, and I would believe. I mean, what do you think, Hubert? Is that like indicative of the Mayflower or something like that?
It might be Columbus.
Columbus, yeah.
Yeah, Mayflower and Columbus.
Yeah. So obviously that's a great little note and a little nice graphic on it. All right, so move on to the next one. All right, so here's a series of 1907 $5 bill, and again another great engraving. I mean, I love this the presidential engravings are truly remarkable, but we've seen them for our entire lives, and it's nice to see these more sort of Americana-esque engravings that you see on these notes. This is got the Spielman White signatures, and you know, you see the woman carrying a child, and you have the dog, and you have the man with the axe. I got it. Let's see, does this help you with the sound a little better? Move that microphone. And let's look at the reverse of this one. All right, so you see again, I want to read this counterfeiting or altering text because I thought this was quite cool. Counterfeiting or altering this note, or passing any counterfeit or alteration of it, or having in possession any false or counterfeit plate or impression of it, or any paper made in imitation of the paper on which it is printed is a felony and is punishable by $5,000 or 15 years imprisonment at hard labor or both. So there you go. Mess around and find out, you know what I'm saying? All right. All right, here's the next note here. And, you know, this isn't in great shape, but you see this is a $500 Confederate States of America banknote. You know, you see Washington riding his horse, and there's the treacherous Stonewall Jackson on the right side. And you see the hand-signed note, and not even some of 50. Yeah, so there's like an interesting piece, and you know that piece in that condition, you know, may find a collector for, you know, a little under $100 maybe. Worth more now than it was in 1866 for sure. All right, the next one up here. All right, here's a $5 Treasury note. And you see here one of my favorite, can you scoot this over a little bit, Hubert, so I can see the symbol of the figure? One of my favorite things is the Virginia flag motif, where you have the woman standing atop the downed tyrant. So there you see the tyrant dead on the ground, his crown sitting on the ground, and there she is. So this was issued during the Civil War, March 13th, 1862, in Richmond, and you see the signatures quite visible still on this paper. All right, next one. Yeah, this one's remarkable to us, I think, because the font here looks like this looks like a early 20th century font, in our opinion. But this purports to be from July 15, 1867, from the Corporation of Winchester, Virginia. That's in Northern Virginia. And this was a 25-cent note. So, of course, you know, at this point in the war, money is scarce. It's not circulating, and coinage is no longer circulating. So, out of necessity, these notes were put up. And you know, I love the dog there. The dog has his paw over a key, and you see that building behind it, and you see the two. Looks like that's probably Pocahontas or some likeness of some Virginia indigenous people there, you know, and nature. So that's a pretty neat piece. Okay, here's another Virginia Treasury note here. And, you know, again, very crude. The paper is remarkable how sort of thin it is. I can't imagine this having any like real security at the time. So you see the stamp for one in red against a black backdrop, hand signed, hand numbered. So there's that piece. All right, this piece has seen better days, but another crude one. This is a $1 Missouri notes taped in the center. It was like ripped in half. These were payable within the state, and January 1, 1862. And then again, you see the same motif we saw with the Virginia note. You see the woman standing over a tyrant with the crown on the ground, and I suppose at this point, you know, the South is purporting the tyrant to be probably Abe Lincoln. And you see the little cannonballs at the bottom. All right, back to happier times, right before the Depression. So here you have, you know, a series of 1928 silver certificate. And I think probably what's going to be interesting about this is going to be the reverse. So we'll flip this one over. Yeah, and you see this is the funny back reverse. And the reverse on the $1 bill that we are used to today begins in the 1930s. So this is the design that preceded it. All right. Well, that's another great note. This is in better shape, I think, than the $5 bill of 1907 we showed earlier. But yeah, again, it has that big crease in the center, parallel and perpendicular, I guess, creases there. So this is other, the printing and the paper quality, everything's just great. I definitely would have graded this note, but those creases kind of kill it. And again, you see the same design there. All right. And here we go. This is a $4 bill from the Bank of the Commonwealth, Richmond, Virginia, issued in June 1862. And again, you see the necessity money being made, very crude. So this would have been money that the bank would have issued. And we have another piece from Winchester. This is more in line with what I would expect. This would have been issued about 10 years before the modern looking note. This is for $5, and it's got, 3 great vignettes. We see that repeat of that, the Indian motif there, but now you see a sort of a pastoral scene, and then you see a woman with holding a basket of flowers. Really nice piece. All right.
Group 2.
Now we're going to move on to group 2. These are going to be some better notes. Here you go. Not exactly in the, I wouldn't call this uncirculated, but it's kind of nearly uncirculated. It's a little dingy. But this is a Hawaii note. Again, this is sort of an emergency issue. It's a silver certificate that was printed and issued at the outset of World War II. And the fear was that Hawaii might get captured by the Japanese Imperial Navy. And in the event that would happen, the Americans didn't want the Japanese to have access to United States currency. So they printed this special Hawaii notes with a brown seal and a stamp on the reverse that said Hawaii, and that way they could easily identify it. You usually see these in lower grade. I think having mint state and attractive Hawaii notes is the exception and not the rule this day and age. All right, here's a series of 1917 $1 note. There you go, and you see
Very large.
Washington in the center. The central vignette on the paper, on the plastic holder, there's a little sticker residue near one that's not on the note. But this is in fairly good condition for something that would have walked in over the counter. And we look at the reverse of that. There you go. You see the United States of America, very ornate engraving there from the BEP. All right, here we have a large gold certificate, $10 gold certificate. And again, this is sort of in a high circulated grade. There's Michael Hillegas, the first treasurer of the United States, his vignette there, if you're wondering. It's really, like I said, a really nice vignette, beautiful graphics. And let's look at the reverse. And again, there is some sticker residue on these holders. You see a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of staining there. But you got the great seal in the center of this little scallop vignette around it. It's really nice. All right, moving on. Here you go. It's an educational note. This holder at some period purported this note to be worth $30. Worth quite a bit more now. This was just a great artistic achievement from United States money. It's amazing how sort of elegant and high concept this series of paper money is compared to the rather conservative approach we have in today's designs. But there you go. You see the a goddess, Columbia probably, looking at the great city, capital, United States, Washington, D.C., with the child there with the fasces to her rear, and an open book, the Constitution of the United States. And then you see all these great founders' names written in scrolls or in wreaths around the design. And what's the reverse look like on this one? And there you go, Martha Washington and George Washington. And this would have been probably the design that people were discussing when they were saying that Harriet Tubman would be the first woman on a United States currency note since Martha Washington. This would have been the note they were talking about. All right. Now, this one's interesting to me because, like any record I have of these West River banknotes, of which I believe we have 4 here, show them in an uncut sheet and unsigned and apparently unissued. As you see, there's no signatures here, and I'm not sure if these notes were just not just cut, but it is interesting that the cherub there is appears to be like rolling a giant 1854 seated Liberty dollar, which is pretty neat. Let's look at the other ones here, and these don't have they're uniface, so they don't have a back. And then here you got 2 cherubs. They're like kind of like getting ready to have like a fight over the $2. It's pretty funny. And then I hope these get more and more ridiculous as they go. Okay, now they've settled their disputes and they're becoming more civilized with $3. And at $4, they've become absolutely decadent and have, or $5, they've become absolutely decadent and now are doing whatever they damn well please.
Looks like the sciences.
The sciences, yeah. So, all right. So moving on here. All right. So here's a Virginia Treasury note for $50. And this is what people would be apparently paying their taxes with. All right. All right, here's a piece of national currency from the First National Bank Trust and Company in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. It's not too far away from where I used to live. I used to live in Gettysburg, and Waynesboro is about 40 minutes down 30 towards the west. And there you go. It's pretty good shape. You see the familiar reverse. And here we go. We got a State Bank of Michigan remainder from the 1800s. Really beautiful piece. It's got a vignette of a really nice woman. Kind of looks like Princess Leia. And then you have a vignette of someone harvesting corn. And this was issued or produced by the American Banknote Company. It's really pretty. All right. Here is a $3 bill from the Bank of Florence. Again, never issued. Bank chartered in Nebraska in 1850s. So, another interesting piece. Yet another $3 bill. This is from the Adrian Insurance Company. This one apparently was issued. As you see, it was signed. It's got a great train vignette. So there you go. And here's the Farmers and Merchants Bank of Maryland. And that's another $3 piece. And again, you have Liberty with the Peleus cap. You got the bald eagle mounted a crest on a rocky crag, and you have the farm animal there.
It's another American banknote company.
Yeah. All right. This is a cool piece. This is the Bull's Head Bank. Might as well have been called the BS Bank because this is probably a specious issue, and very likely the Bull's Head Bank never existed. It's got a great motif, and as you can tell, it likely circulated, but this is one of those great inefficiencies that was built in the system of having banks issue their own money. Fake banks could pop up, make realistic looking money, and then it was a game of hot potato. Now this is a cool piece. This is just a regular everyday series 1963 red seal, except if you check out the serial number, star 0000363A. This was one of a run of about 10 or 12 notes that the collector had assembled from a bundle. So they must have disseminated some of them or got some of them and noted the very low serial numbers and held on to them. They're all more or less in mint state or close to it. You will see like a tiny itty bitty bend at the bottom left. I don't know if that's enough to get it, knocked down, but I'll send these off to get graded because I kind of want to keep them protected, and I think those serial numbers will be very interesting to people. And you see it has the old Monticello reverse. The current $2 issue has the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which was introduced in 1976. All right, here's the Central Bank of Alabama in Montgomery, $1 note from 1861. Nice. And here is a great piece here from the State Bank of New Brunswick, a $3 note, and I like that. That's a Cocker Spaniel, isn't it? Looks like.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
No,
some kind of terrier.
Yeah, so, some sort of dog, right? And then you see the a plowshare and a man with a Liberty cap on a Liberty pole. You see a woman with a sickle in her hand and a horse motif behind it, and there's a little train in the distance. It's like a bunch of great motifs there from this bank, and a great denomination. And here we go. So another $2 note. So remember I told you that those low serial number notes were interesting. What's interesting about this note might not be immediately apparent until we turn it over. And you see it's off center. So that was a fun find. I didn't expect to see that. So, and here's a Confederate $50 note issued in Richmond in 1861, and this one's in fairly decent shape. All right, and like I said, the store was located in Richmond, so I'm not surprised we have a lot of this Richmond Civil War ephemera. And here's a national currency note $50 bill from the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, which was issued from the series of 1929. Okay, and your Capitol building. And here's a large size national currency from the series of 1902. This was from the First National Bank of Jefferson City. And you'll notice here for this type, you have the 1809, which I believe is the charter number of the bank. And then you see that charter number repeated in the scroll work. I think it's repeated twice in the top, twice in the bottom, and once in the right and left. And I can't make it out, but I can't tell whether or not the signatures in this note have faded with time or if it was never signed. I don't know enough about this note to really make a remark. And here's the next one, which is another $10 note. And again, you see McKinley there, who was only recently assassinated, right? 1902. So this would have been like the Kennedy $50 of currency to put McKinley on that note. And this was from the Shenandoah National Bank of Winchester. And again, these might not have been signed. I don't know what the deal is with that. Can you flip it over so we can look at the reverse?
Sure.
If anybody knows like why they weren't signed or has any idea, just let me know in the comment. And then here you see two looks like a naval battleship, and I don't know if the other one's like a cruise ship or some sort of commercial ship. And then you see, the goddess with the fasces and wrapped in the flag with a shield on her back. Very interesting. All right, and here is a signed $5 note with Benjamin Harrison. And this one's kind of in ratty shape, to be honest. And let's see what the back looks like here. We got this sticker there. And then, like I said, this one's wrinkled all hell. But you see, it looks like pilgrims are, coming over. All right. And we have a series of 1923 $1 silver certificates with Spielman white signatures.
Okay, I found this on the web for his 1923.
That's serious, helping me out. Okay, so, and then you see the reverse there, sort of pedestrian. And here is a nice $1 bill from the series of 1917. And the reverse.
One of those.
Again, we've seen one of these earlier. So this one's an okay grade, I guess. There you go. Don't see these every day. This is a $500 bill, Federal Reserve note from the series 1934A. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, Illinois. It's in okay condition. It's probably find a buyer at a little over face value, I'd say. And let's look at the back of this $500 bill.
They went all out.
Yeah, they spared no expense on these high denomination designs on the reverse. So there you go. And last, we have a silver certificate here from the series of 1899. I love this design. You got the bald eagle with the flag and the Capitol building. You have Grant and Lincoln. And let's look at the back. Little Spartan there, but there you go. This certificate is, what does that say? Receivable for customs, taxes, and all public dues, and when so received, may be issued. Is that
Reissued.
Reissued? Yeah. Interesting.
That's it.
All right, well that kind of does it. There's about 50 pieces there, indicative of the scale and scope of the collection. And it was a lot of fun going through it. Spent about a week looking at these things and studying them, and putting together a spreadsheet. And I'm probably going to spend some time this afternoon taking some photos for the family so that they can market and sell these things on eBay. But it's always a great opportunity to share some of our experiences at the Coinweek offices with you, and I'm glad that we were able to get on today. So for Coinweek and for Hubert, I'm Charles Morgan. Until next time, happy collecting.